Okay, LevelCap Gaming coming in hot with this clickbait title. Star Citizen is facing a major deadline. He's the master of the titles, man. Let's check it out and let's see if there's substance to this.
Last year, Cloud Imperium Games promised that they would deliver a staggering amount of new features and content for Star Citizen over a period of 12 months. This announcement was made more exciting by the fact that they were actually showing off most of these features in-engine during the presentation, so it really felt like this might actually come to fruition. However, with Chris Roberts having a pretty legendary reputation at this point for missing major deadlines, fans were excited but also somewhat skeptical, and rightly so. Today, we're now less than 4 months away from Star Citizen's next major CitizenCon event that will kick off in Manchester, England. This event will take place on that 12-month deadline, and I want to see just how far CIG has come to delivering on that content and what's still remaining. Now,
again, I'm going to say this again, and I will say this till I am blue in the face. If you seriously all want to give them deadlines that make them sweat, stop sending them money. You know, for people that like get angry, for people that are upset. By the way, I am not one of those people. I have my moments, but like I'm a pretty patient dude, and I understand that the scope of this, and I know it's going to take a long time. Okay, I'm buckled up. And I'm prepping. I've been driving this long to get to the destination, and I know I got a long way to go. And that's just my mindset. And if I get upset, I go outside, I touch some grass, because I understand that there's nobody else doing this, right? But for those people that are so upset, stop spending money. Do you think that there's a large percentage of people that are really upset with Star Citizen and yet still buy things from Star Citizen? I mean, that's kind of funny to me, man, because I think there's a percentage. I think that there is a very large percentage of people that are upset and still spend money. So here is my advice. Guys, stop spending the fucking money then. If you're like that upset, stop spending the money. If they had a decrease in revenues, guess what? That sends a clear message that you guys want a fucking deadline to be hit. If you want to seriously be the publisher, since you're the fans, it's fan funded. The reason why they didn't want timelines was because the reason why they went fan based is they didn't want the publisher. They didn't want the timelines. That's why they went fan based. So if you truly want to step in as the publisher, stop sending them money. Like, watch those revenues decrease, and then boom, maybe shit will speed up. For God's sake. If you're so upset, quit spending money, man. What is wrong with you? I'm baffled. I'm baffled.
Now, I actually had to go back and review my recap of last year's CitizenCon to make a list of everything promised, because it really is quite possibly the most ambitious goal the company has made, at least since their original plan of shipping Star Citizen in 2014. LOL. I also ended up using this website made by community member Greg that's tracking each individual feature on an even more minute scale. He's broken it down into 56 different features, of which 24 have been delivered so far, though that statement alone...
I love Fingers, man. He said the gibbeting continues. Fingers, 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 fingers. Fingers, I am so happy you're still here on stream after. How's your job going, buddy? Are you doing good with the job? I gotta know if Fingers is doing good with the new job.
Doesn't quite paint a picture of the progress made and what's currently being tested or partially implemented. I'll leave a link to a site in case you want to follow it. All right, let's get into it, and I'm going to kind of follow along with the categories that Craig has set up on his website, because it's nicely laid out and easy to follow. So firstly, we've got the future of Star Engine, basically all the major engine updates that will improve performance and capabilities. So far, CIG has implemented Vulkan, which is the new render pipeline, and that has come along with the first stage of DLSS, FSR, and the new TSR upscaling to improve performance, although most of the game is still CPU locked, so most players haven't seen a huge performance update since then. There's been cloud improvements with new light shafts and better cloud rendering. There's been ground fog updates that follow the terrain, and there's now
I mean, have you guys noticed those new light shafts? Whew. I'm telling you what, man, those new light shafts, oh my God.
new water simulation and deformation when a spaceship flies over the water or a bomb impacts the water to deform it in a really cool, interesting way. The new Star Hair simulation has been added to the game, and his website says Star Cloth has been added to the game, but I've seen debates as to whether or not this has actually been fully implemented in engine yet, though it is one of the smaller features, so I'm not too concerned over that detail. If you will. Now, when it comes to server meshing, one of the biggest and most important features coming for Star Citizen, this has not yet been implemented. This feature will allow for servers to be broken up into multiple servers and share the load so that allegedly...
I don't think I can get through this. You just said share the load. I'm sorry. My mind, I'm going to get it out of the gutter. I promise. This is just, you know, I generally run at this speed. Okay. So it's Zav, you there with me, bro? Okay. Zav. Good. Great minds think alike, Zav.
Thousands of players will be able to exist in one solar system and run missions and fight each other and just make the universe feel much more populated. Plus, it'll allow players to traverse between different solar systems in real time. The first stage of this system, server replication, has been added into the game, and server meshing currently is being tested. In fact, I've checked it out, many players have checked it out, so a lot of people have played in a server meshed environment. It's just not yet stable enough for the live servers.
It's in its static form, it's not dynamic, and it's still messy. It's still messy, you know? So, it's gonna be a long time. It's gonna be a long time.
I do expect that we will see this rolled out to live before the next CitizenCon. When it comes to graphics, ray traced global ALLUMNI,
and when it comes out, it will still be messy, if not messier. On its first implementation, probably a bit messier.
Illumination has not yet been added to the game, nor has the next stage of DLSS 3, which would actually solve a lot of the CPU bottleneck issues for people who have higher end graphics cards. Maelstrom, the new physically based destruction system, has also not been implemented. The new fire simulation and attached gameplay to that fire system has not been added, nor have some of the new quantum travel effects that were shown off. Let's talk about some of the new navigation and exploration features. One of the biggest and most long-term promised feature, the updated star map with seamless transitions from the surface of planets to spaceships to the entire solar system, is in the game currently. It works and it is awesome. This has been a huge update for the game. It also comes with path routing, so you can place a pin.
Which listen, I'm happy about this, but I was slightly disappointed because I thought it was going to be a little bit better in terms of its feel and the mechanics of the map. It's still a little bit loose and sloppy, but all right, that's it. I am literally gonna turn off this video right now, man. It's getting bad. It's getting bad.
Somewhere on a map, and then that routing will show up on the new heads-up display in your first-person perspective and help you navigate around cities. Not all of the features associated with this system have been implemented yet. Downloadable maps that'll reveal locations to you, or data running mechanics like being able to sell markers and stuff like that. And while we do have a nice new updated HUD, some of the features kind of associated with it, like FPS scanning, are also not yet in the game. The mobiGlass system has also been updated, and while the front end does look a little bit newer and fresher, it's mostly the back end features and how the mobiGlass is built that seems to be the major change. When it comes to personalizing your in-game character and just other NPCs around the verse, lots of progress has been made there. The new character creator and sculpting system is now in the game, giving players a huge amount of control over how their character...
There needs a lot of work on this too still. Like, I'm glad that we got the map. I'm glad it's a step in the right direction. I'm glad that we got a character customizer where you can save your character creation and then just load it. That's awesome as well. And by the way, what the fuck is going on here? Just a bad fashion sense all around. I don't know what level cap. Come on, up your game, man. Like, what kind of fashion is this? What are you trying to do here? I mean, come on, add a little color or something. Like, what's going on here? I don't get it. The fashionista in me is screaming at you, level cap. Like, God, come on, please. You call this fashion? You call this fashion? But I do need to see like continued work with the character creator. I need to see continued work with the star map. Great, go in the right direction, but we need a lot more work in both regards. The character creation is still like confusing as hell to me. You know, it's not easy. The never mind.
Looks. Not all of the new heads and hair types have been added, but a significant amount, with more hopefully on the way. They've also added the Headhunters gang to the game, which have a new visual look to them, but they haven't yet added a bunch of the other stuff like the Rough and Ready gang. They haven't added in player hygiene stuff where you can get dirtier over time. And as far as I can tell, they haven't really added in some of that new frontier clothing and cosmetics that were shown off. Now, when it comes to just doing things in the first-person perspective, lots of progress has been made here. Aside from the new heads-up display, we now have the EVA 2.0 experience, which is a much-needed update to the game and just makes players floating around in space look much more realistic and cool. We also have the new Inner Thought system, which allows you to just quickly tap F on objects to do the action that you're expecting it to do, but also holding the key down so that you can choose from.
Okay, I like that they're improving UI. Still rather, you know, sloppy and messy. You know, like they need to tighten it up. They need to really take their time to tighten it up. That's how we like it. We like tight. Okay, we don't want loose, sloppy.
More options. This is sort of the best of both worlds. It's not yet implemented to every item and interactable in the game, but progress is being made. There's a new looting screen for characters, allowing for faster looting in-game. It's still a bit buggy, but a noticeable improvement over the previous system. Kiosks and terminals now have more updated UI and features. Weapons now have new scope improvements, handling mechanics, and even sounds for the guns. There's been a big balance pass here, so that's a huge update and overall quality of life improvement. That said, there's still a wealth of features here that have not yet made it into the game. Player traversal animation updates like going prone, jumping onto ladders, sliding. That's not quite in yet. We don't have the first-person takedown system yet. There isn't a ping system for your radar, allowing you to ping and spot enemies. The even more robust player animation interaction system is not yet there, where you'll animate every button.
Okay, is it just me, or is it LevelCap is literally guiding us through this journey? His word, the way he picks his words, the robustness, you know, huge. Like the way he's describing his adjective game is on point. It's almost as if he's leading all of us down this path.
Push in a cockpit and stuff like that.
I don't think I can finish this, man. Pepe, give me some coffee, bro. Give me some coffee, Pepe.
They advertised radiation gameplay and environmental hazard stuff. That's not there. And the weapon wear, gun jamming, that kind of stuff is also not yet in the game. Now, when it comes to operating your spaceships and the features associated with it, some significant things have been added, but there's a huge amount of stuff on this list that is still yet to see any patch. The biggest feature added here is master modes. This is still what I would call a work in progress. This allows players to switch between navigational mode and SCM mode.
Is that what you're thinking right now, Wooksy? that he narrates his own shits. Like he's in the bathroom and he's like, and as I sit down onto the cold porcelain god and squat in the manner, very comfortably pushing, and I yearning to feel more free.
All ships can switch between it, and there's a whole slew of new balance changes that come with it, and meta for how to fly your ship and fight with your ship. Along with it comes the new zoom-in targeting system and the ability to sort of paint subsystems for targeting at range. It's kind of cool. I haven't been able to use it too much in-game. It seems mostly useful for small ships targeting big ships at range. Now, when it comes to the features not yet implemented for flight, well, control surfaces is one. That's the ability for aerodynamic spacecraft to fly in the air much like an aircraft would, only using the rear thrusters, using less fuel, and achieving some of those more airplane-like mechanics. The quantum boosting feature, which is going to be a huge update to general traversal, allowing you to move quickly through space at sub-quantum speeds in a quicker, more dynamic way. That's nowhere to be seen yet. That also includes the entering quantum jump gameplay, where you have to sort of pull the ship onto course, otherwise you won't be able to achieve quantum jump. The complete ship heads-up display rework is not in the game. This seems like a massive amount of work, and I have no idea if they're going to be able to get it done in time. The ship-to-helmet MFD casting is not yet in the game, and of course the other animation and interaction stuff that I discussed earlier is also not in the game for.
And it's all very data dependent, and a lot of these features being added will continually add to the strain of the server and the server performance, and that's what they're contending with right now. Every new thing they're adding in terms of this is more data for the server to have to deal with. So, you know, we're like on a balancing act. We're balancing on a wire right now, waiting for server mesh to work the way it needs to work, and everything they keep adding that people are pissed off it's not in the game continually makes their experience a harder, worse experience. The irony is this: the more the people bitch that certain things aren't in the game, most of those things add amazing amounts of data, which brings down server performance because of the data that has to. It's just, it's very ironic, right? So like we have to always keep dynamic server meshing at the top of the most important thing. It's at the top of the hierarchy. It's the most important thing. Like quite literally, the focus has to be on dynamic server meshing. And for people that think that that's not it, you're just plain wrong. You're wrong. Everything depends upon dynamic server meshing. Everything that we want from this game depends upon it. And for those people that say, oh, there's too many people placing importance on dynamic server meshing, and that's not the end-all be-all of this game. Yes, it actually is. For the very reasons I'm stating right now. That's a bad take. That's a bad narrative. When you're listening to that from people, they don't know what they're talking about. They have no idea about game development. If they're not putting that at first, they don't know what they're talking about. You should not watch them. They don't have a clue. They're giving you a bad take.
Or, pressing everything and interacting with the cockpit. And we're missing the new configuration profiles used for different situations. When it comes to bigger spaceships, engineering gameplay has long been promised. This would be people tinkering with the systems inside of a ship, repairing them, rerouting power, replacing worn out components. This is not yet in the game, but it has been tested, and I think you can actually test it right now in the Arena Commander mode. It's cool, but it also seems like it's quite a ways off. Now, what about the new locations and gameplay? This is one of the more desirable updates for Star Citizen, because tons of features are great, but if there's no gameplay to back them up, then it doesn't matter all that much at the end of the day. And that's kind of what 2024 has been so far. A lot of cool new features with not a lot of gameplay behind them. So what have we gotten so far? There seems to be a new reputation system that allows you access to certain areas. Good, neutral, bad. I haven't actually experienced this one firsthand. And probably the biggest new locations now are the distribution distribution centers.
Yes,
There are actual
yes.
missions and gameplay that take place here, but they are quite simplistic.
Isn't it baffling that most don't, Limitless? Isn't it baffling to you that most don't get that? And we're talking like really old content creators spinning a false narrative right now. Like that's not the most important thing. It's crazy to me. I know when you're listening to it, you probably are like myself when you hear these content creators say like, oh, it's not the end all or be all. It shouldn't be like the most important thing. It's like, what? Like I've heard people that are like covering, I won't say who, but I've listened to content creators that have been covering Star Citizen for like 5+, 6+ years say these things. And I'm like, I don't know if they're involved in the same thing that I am, that they're spinning this narrative out there. It's kind of weird. It's a weird narrative.
The bigger raid-like events and going
like,
deeper
what?
into these distribution centers, or even some of the simpler package delivery gameplay, a lot of that hasn't been fully implemented yet.
Yeah, I don't think they know as well, Def Digit. But I guess what really concerns me is like then like if they really don't believe that, then what? Like I just feel like they're brain dead, and then I start to wonder like why would anybody listen to these people? Like some of these people have like a lot of subscribers, and I'm like if they're under that impression, like what makes the rest of what their opinions are why are they valid? That they shouldn't even be valid anymore to watch for Star Citizen content. Like I'm just like I'm blown away. I don't understand like how they can think that. It's crazy.
Or is still quite buggy. There are a lot of new settlements located around the system now, which actually do look quite cool, but there's not really a lot of mission content attributed to them yet. And what is bound to be one of the biggest location updates to Star Citizen, the entire second new system of Pyro, is also not yet in the game. That one is locked behind the server.
And by the way, I'm not saying that LevelCap is under this impression, by the way, because I haven't heard LevelCap say anything of that nature. So just to let you guys know, I'm not accusing LevelCap of this, because I don't think I've ever heard LevelCap say this. I'm talking about other content creators, just to get that straight.
Meshing technology. Players have been able to test out Pyro and play it for brief periods of time just to see what it's like, and it is cool, though what we have played has been an incomplete version of Pyro and shown many ways to sort of break the underlying mechanics of the system, since it is a lawless system. So I'm very curious to see what updates come with Pyro once it finally makes it into the live servers. Persistent hangars, which are attached to freight elevators, which are attached to all the new hauling gameplay, are not yet in the game, but they are being actively tested right now, so I do expect to see those features added to the game in the near future. I'm personally very excited about those features, especially the hauling gameplay, because, well, it's gameplay. New things to do, new missions, new opportunities. Now, one of the more
and being able to dive into your cargo hold as if Scrooge McDuck himself were diving into a gold pit. Can I get a new bit? You're not gonna eat me. Love that Scottish duck.
Exciting features shown off at the last CitizenCon, which many people, myself included, did not expect to see in a year's time, was base building. This comes with land claims, people being able to claim a section of a planet or a moon or what have you, and start building a base on there that has systems that can interact with the solar system economy and have turrets, defenses, what have you. This just seemed way too ambitious to get into the game in a year's time, and I think CIG's kind of walked that feature back a little bit, and I don't think
that's not going to be wait till the end anyway. Land claims, base building. This is going to be like, I mean, like it's going to be way out.
Anybody surprised by that?
Yeah,
so, in summary, CIG still has a bit of time to get more features delivered to us. It does seem like they are lagging behind their deadlines a bit here, especially with some of the major big ticket items still undelivered, such as server meshing and Pyro. Those will likely take the most amount of time, and I don't think anybody's going to be surprised if those features slip past the deadline. Now, in terms of what's been delivered so far,
which, by the way, Coob, I don't know if you're still here, buddy, but I cannot eat shrimp since that last True Facts video on shrimp. I just want you to know that I have given up eating shrimp completely because of that True Facts video, and that's thanks to Coob. Let's just hear it for Coob on that.
Coob.
Now I am shrimp free. I cannot eat shrimp anymore. Is Coob here? Coob, take a bow for that one. Take a bow. Where's Coob at? I gotta know that Coob's here somewhere. Hold on. Is he still? Yes, he's still in the chat. Of course he is. He's Coob. He's awesome. Coob, I'm calling you to the forefront, Coob. I'm using your Coob signal.
Coob.
Can you hear me? Coob, I'm Coob signaling out to you. Coob signaling out to you. I'm Coob and Coob. Coob and you. The Coob signal. He'll respond.
Coob.
Come on, everybody, put your psyches together. Combine them together into an ultrasonic aquamarine wave that zaps out into Coob's.
Coob.
Coob it. Come on, Coob. Coob. There he is. Coob. Listen, I can't eat shrimp anymore because of you, bro. That True Facts video about shrimp, I am done eating shrimp, dude. I will never eat shrimp again. I let Christy know. Christy made shrimp for me, by the way. All your fault. Christy got mad at me. Christy made shrimp for me, dude. She made that scrimp. She made the scrimp up literally the day after I watched that video, dude. I went to her place. She had shrimp there, and I was like, oh, hell no. I cannot eat this shit. And she said, what? And I said, you know, it's not my fault. You know whose fault it is?
Coob.
And then I told her the whole story.
This year, I would say that a lot of quality of life features have been added to the game that will probably make Star Citizen a more enjoyable experience to get into as a new player. However, for veteran players, the quality of life updates are...
Take a bow, Coob. Take a goddamn bow. Our Coob signal worked. God damn you, Coob. I love Coob. Take a fucking bow. That is
nice,
amazing.
but there isn't a lot of gameplay to back them up. That hauling update that's in the works right now is a pretty big deal for players who just want something new to do, new to try out in Star Citizen. And in fact, I'm kind of having that epiphany moment looking at all of the promised features. The vast majority...
Christy was like, I took all this time to make this shrimp for you. You're not going to eat shrimp because you watched a video on your stream, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, don't blame me, honey. Blame
Coob.
And I said it just like that because every time I say Coob, I say Coob. I say, you can't blame me, honey. Christy, don't blame me. Blame Coob. And she's like, you could take your Coob and you could shove it. And I was like, oh no, this is going to be a night on the couch for me. And then it was a night on the couch for me. And I was like, damn you.
Coob.
of them have very little to do with new gameplay content. It's still all very important update and again foundational tech, but in terms of the player experience.
Fingers, I made her watch the vid and she's like, you know what the funny thing was? I just made her watch the vid the other day, dude. Fingers is like, make her watch the vid because she wouldn't stop talking about it. So I said, fine, you're gonna watch this vid. So she watched our reaction to this video and she looked over at me. She didn't say much the entire time. When the shrimp crawls in the mouth of the fish and starts scooping shit out, and it's like a dentist on the fish. When it starts eating his butt and eating all the poop from the fish, I mean, shrimp are disgusting, man. And every time something gross was happening with those shrimp, I would just like do this. I would do this to Christy. I just like looked over. I'm waiting for a reaction. I'm looking at her, right? And then like she didn't give me the satisfaction of like responding or anything. Every time something gross happened, I just did one of these. And then you almost heard the music, like quite literally, like I would turn to her and I would be like this. See that? Seeing it? And then at the very end, she turned to me. She was like, okay, you have a point. And I was like, that's right, I have a point. And you don't blame me. Don't blame me. You blame Coob. She hasn't touched shrimp either. I think she gave up shrimp too, dude. She's a pescatarian, man. We just took one of the major food groups off of her list. She's a pescatarian. Shrimp was like the primary source of her diet was shrimp, man. I told her, I'm like, well, that they got to start eating meat now. You got to start eating meat.
There hasn't been too much this year that's brought me back in for a long period of time to play. The distribution centers were the thing that I was kind of most excited to try out, and those missions just kind of underwhelmed, or I ran through them pretty quick, and then that was that. So Pyro is still slated for Q3 2024, and hopefully CIG can make that deadline. That will be a huge update for the game in terms of available content, potentially doubling the amount of missions and things that you can do in the game. So that'll be something that is very exciting for everybody interested in Star Citizen. I'm going to be following the game very eagerly, and I'm excited to check out what's going on at the next CitizenCon. What do you
Here's what I would like from LevelCap, and you know, not that I'm anyone to say. I mean, like, Jesus, LevelCap has a template. He's got 1.9 million subscribers. Here comes a dude with 20,000 subscribers trying to give this dude advice. Isn't that that to me is the funniest thing in the world right there? Hold on a second while I laugh at myself. You know what? I got some advice for you, LevelCap. Partially what Wooksy's saying, but a little bit nicer. I'm going to say kind of what Wooksy's saying, but a little bit nicer, which is he's reporting what's happening now, right? At the same time, I want more of his own opinions. He's salt and peppered his opinions in here a little bit, but like a little bit more of like where his mind is on things, and a little bit less on, I mean, like he goes bullet point, bullet point, bullet point, bullet point opinion, right? And then the opinion's kind of like a very like could go either way opinion. It's not like, it doesn't feel like he's strongly supportive of his own opinion when he gives it. You know, at least that's how it comes across to me. Like I want him to put his opinion in. And yeah, it's a little too diplomatic. Like just tell us, motherfucker, what you feel. Just tell us what you're feeling. Like, I need you to tell me what you're feeling. You've been playing for a while now. How long's LevelCap been playing for? Like 2 years now? And you know, like, I would like the content to be a little bit more like, you know, a little bit more impactful. But, you know, hey, he's got the template down here. He's got like 11,000 views on this with 700 likes. Who am I? Who am I? I'll tell you who I am. I'm the banana fountain, motherfuckers.
Banana fountain.
Don't know, now you know.